We are
Hi. We're the most live that we've ever been in a session before.
This ring light.
Oh my goodness. One of our wonderful colleagues brought this gorgeous professional vanity light, is what I like to call it. Oh, we have a human.
Welcome
Hi,
in.
welcome in, guys.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about how we got a new toy in the office, this cool ring light.
I've never felt more pasty
Same.
than I do right now. It's a good time.
So welcome in. Thank you for joining our Instagram live. This is like I don't know how many times we've done it now.
A lot.
Every week on Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. We answer questions you guys send through to us. If you have questions in this Instagram live, you can send them through. We'll answer them, and then these are also posted on our YouTube channel.
All right.
Let's just
Jump into it.
real quick. My name is Nicole. This is Emily. We're like your first point of contact. So yes, nice to meet all of you.
We are the people that when you call in and don't have your proverbial shit together, help you do so. And so it's our job to make sure you have all your reference samples or your production samples and your patterns, and assess that, cost it out, and then pass you on to our technically adept, extremely wonderful project managers, or just shove you straight into production. So if there's anything that you need answered, that you don't feel you have clarity on, that'd be awesome. Miss Hannon is coming to see us in March. Great, book a time, send us an email. Let's get stuck into it with some questions while we have some people in here. What do you have going on?
The first question is, how important is it for you guys to meet deadlines?
It's very important for us to meet deadlines, either set by you or set by us. So sometimes you'll set a deadline without all the variables in place, and so we can't always meet that. Like if you say, hey, I need production done by this date, and we've yet to start development, and we don't know where your fabric's coming from, it's sometimes really hard to meet that. But if we have all of the variables figured out and there's nothing left to do except make your product, then generally speaking, you can make those things happen.
Awesome. I'm going to be writing down your questions as well, so if I'm spaced out. Thank you for saying our communication is off the charts. We look forward to speaking with you soon.
Mrs. Hannon asks me if blazers are expensive to make. The short answer is yes.
Super expensive.
Because blazers are quite a tailored, specific fit, you need to take that into consideration. And then also, more often than not, they're lined. And so whenever you line something, you're essentially making a pattern for two garments and sewing it into one. So you're also sewing two garments. And there's a lot of things to really consider when making such a specialized garment.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's also they cost a higher price point to make, but you can sell them for a higher price point too. So those are things you really have to consider when piecing together your collection.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Emily, this is a great question for you. What is one piece of advice you would give people when they're starting out?
Figure out who your customer is. Who are you really selling to? Because if you don't have the answer to your question, people come in with really mixed, matched, hodgepodge collections that don't make sense. They'll want to do a chino pant for men and then some women's underwear, and it just doesn't make sense in a capsule collection. So figure out who your customer is, and then really base what you're going to do from there.
I would agree with that. If you have trouble knowing where to find information about your target customers, Cloritas.com is the best. I highly recommend you check it out. It tells you specific people who live in specific areas, what they like, what money they spend on certain things, brands they shop at. It gives you a really kind of clear idea on who to target, and it also talks about how they get their information marketing wise. Really great tool.
Mm-hmm. Amazing gift brand. I'm just looking to make some classic comfy sweatsuits. Great, we can do those things. whether you want to do something custom and you have reference samples for those. We also have a private label collection of stuff that we know fits really, really well, and you're not getting some overproduced, chunky, like Gildan t-shirt or whatever. And then you can customize your fabrics as well. Everything's still cut and sewn the same. So hit us up and we can make that for you.
Do you guys have experience making jumpsuits/pantsuits for women?
Yeah, lots. We specialize in all categories of knits and wovens. We're not going to do any like too constructed denim or leather, but jumpsuits, like pantsuits, all of that sort of stuff we've done for a lot of brands before. We've worked with over 300 different brands. I think we're at 320 now or something like that. So we've had everything from like men's underwear and babies and like women's contemporary to like weird inventions. So come at us if we can't. If we're not the right fit, we're going to tell you as well. Like if we don't believe that we can really execute your product to the best version that it can possibly be, we'll tell you and then we'll help you find someone else.
Yeah, definitely. Again, you can reach us via our emails or info@indiesource.
Emily at indiesource.com, Nicole at indiesource.com.
We'll answer all of your questions.
Also, our blog page is full of resources for you to just like nut into for as long as you would like.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of different downloadable things as well that like give you tools to like prepare yourself for the process. How many samples do you make in development?
It's up to you. You want to feel this one?
We quote you out for 2 rounds of samples per style. So it'd be like your first round of samples, those normally have more edits that need to be made. And then we would quote you out for like 1 more round. We can do more than 2 rounds of sampling. It would just come like at a different, like at another price.
We never like, when we do rounds of sampling and development, like you're never gonna hit it right the first go. Everything stretches and moves differently and it's just not how it works. And you generally, industry standard is about 5 rounds of samples and fittings and figuring that out. We wanna keep it to between 2 and 4 because we'd rather have you in production and selling your garments as fast as possible. But we need to do as many as it takes. And someone asked how many edits are allowed. You can do you can do 20 rounds of edits if you want. You're gonna pay for all of them, but you can do as many as you want. It's really about getting the fit right because that extra $500, $600, $700 you spend in development and making sure your pattern is perfect, like we've pre-shrunk everything, we have all the information down, means that you don't lose $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in production because that one variable wasn't there and now all of your product is wrong.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So we have that next question come through. When doing sweatsuits, is the set considered as one piece within 300 pieces?
So, no. So the top would be one and the bottom would be another. Every time you have like a totally separate garment, that's going to be a different style. Whether that's to meet our minimums or just for the sake of organization and not wanting to like, if you have a top and a bottom as the same style number, you will end up with a lot of confusion just in your back end organization.
Doing inventory, it'll be very confusing. Question we get asked every week: what is your MOQ for production? 300 units.
300. And one thing, like you can break that down into sizes and colors, but let me be really clear that if as a brand you can't sell 300 units, what are we doing? We believe in small batch production and that's kind of where we want to start. We believe in like helping out the brand, like, and making sure you can be as successful as possible without having to hit those 1,000 units minimums that it's going to happen in China. But we do want to hit that so that you can scale because like 50 to 100 is really a sample run and it isn't going to do anything for your business. Do we provide the materials or fabrics? Yeah, we can. Sourcing is a service that we offer, and we can get you anything to do like whatever you need to make sure your brand is successful. or you can provide the fabric too if you've already got that. It's totally up to you as a brand.
Yeah. Can you do 300 unit? Oh, can the 300 units be 3 styles at 100 units each? It would be
No.
300 units per style in different colors and different sizes. So we can typically do like 3 colors, and then you can,
100 per color, right?
Yeah.
Because you have fabric minimums, and then like most of the machines that like you use have like 5 or 6 spools. So rethreading those is like a logistical nightmare if you try to fit in 10 colors.
Yeah.
But
Also, yeah, fabric minimums is a thing too. So if we do more than that, you run into fabric minimums. You get slapped with a hefty charge to like cut half a roll. It's kind of, yeah, just three colors. Perfect. Do you have an MOQ for development?
we do have an MOQ for development. It's 3 styles. So while you don't have to produce all 3, I recommend you do, because it'll give you a consumer more opportunity to spend money with you. What we can also do, what you can also look at doing is, let's develop like 5, 6, 7, 8 styles, and then maybe you're only ready to produce 2 or 3 of those. Let's produce those 2 or 3, and then as the revenue from those styles comes in, we can hit go on producing the other ones without repeating the development process all over again. We do want to hit those 3 styles though. Every now and again we'll do less, but it's generally like we developed 1 style for a brand once because they immediately gave us a purchase order for 2,000 units. So that's when it, makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Do you provide tags and labels? Yes.
Yeah.
In development, as we're like doing all of that product stuff, so all of your material sourcing, trim sourcing, pattern making, sample making, your tags come with that too. We essentially plan out your production.
Yeah.
So.
Any of those variables. So it's our job to figure out what you have and what gaps we need to fill in. If you already have bits and pieces figured out, that's fine, but development is all about eliminating variables, and tags is one of those.
Yeah, definitely. How does it work if I have a prototype, a sketch, and a tech pack, but no pattern?
You're still at the start of development.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain amount of reverse engineering that goes into development. Like, everything stretches and moves differently. Your sample may have been washed and shrunk or worn or done certain things to, and then the fabric that we're using for that isn't necessarily the fabric we're using for production. You're still in development. You may not have as far to go, but we still, we need to create a pattern. We need to find your fabrics.
Yeah.
And so we need to get that done first.
Yeah. Plus, we can kind of dive into that prototype from that. A lot of times people have things about their prototype they don't like. So we'll dive into that prototype with you to discuss like all of those different pattern details or edits that we'll be making, any type of sewing details. So it's still, you would still, be in development.
If there is any type of variable, you are in development.
Everything has to have a patent.
It doesn't have to have a patent, it has to have a pattern.
Pattern.
My Australian accent gets in the way of things sometimes. So your pattern is your blueprint, essentially, and the fit to your product or your garment. And if you have a bad pattern, you have a bad fit, and you will get sent back a lot of garments. Unless you're inventing something, you don't need a patent, though.
Will there be a huge gap in cost if I source and provide my own fabrics?
Depends. There is a cornucopia of resources within LA, and it really depends on who you know. We have spent a very, very long time cultivating relationships with over 80 different suppliers that we use. And so the sourcing costs is like in the hundreds. And so sometimes the difference in that, in what you pay for materials versus versus the price we can get for you can be thousands. So, and it's also how much do you want to pay a project manager versus how much are you as a CEO trying to get paid? And how do you want to delegate your time? So you can do your sourcing, but is that the best use of your time? Or should you delegate that while you focus on selling your brand and making it the most successful business it can possibly be?
I also think it's important to know as well, like sourcing doesn't mean going to Joann's.
Yeah, Joann's, Rag Finders, Mood Fabrics,
Don't.
No.
So expensive, so expensive. So if like you're thinking of sourcing, just steer clear from those vendors because those are retail vendors, not wholesale vendors. And
You'll be paying $10 a yard for something you should be paying $4 a yard.
Yeah.
I had a brand come to me and didn't want to pay for sourcing, so that brand went and sourced all of their own stuff from Rag Finders. Came back and we gave her development costs without the sourcing, and she was like, wait, no, but I just spent $10,000 on fabric. And I said, well, you did the thing I specifically told you not to do, and you spent $10,000 where you probably should have spent $4,000 or $5,000 on this fabric.
Yeah.
So now you've wasted $5,000 that could have been spent on your product.
If I provide denim, is IndieSource able to manufacture it?
They require different types of machine, really heavy duty machinery. And so if it's like light denim or a patch is going on something, yeah, we can handle that. But if it's jackets or jeans or anything more involved, you'll really want to find a company that just specializes in doing denim. Makersrow.com is a great resource for you to look into. But you may need to diversify. We have brands that work with us that use us for all their knits and wovens and then have another company that they use for denim. And so diversifying factories is often like a really good option for you to do.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, perfect. Do you help with retail placement and do you do drop shipping?
Yes and no. We don't do that ourselves. We have a number of partners that we work with in the marketing space and fulfillment partners and stuff like that are great, and we have vetted them that we can certainly recommend you to, but that's not something that we do as a company just yet. Give us like 3 to 5 years.
What are your payment terms?
Development's up front. Development, we quote you on 2 rounds and we ask for that payment up front. We also sign a service agreement with you so that you know exactly what deliverables you can expect from us and what we expect from you. And then production is 50% up front and then 50% upon delivery.
Great.
Nicole, can you answer this question for me?
Yes.
Does the brand have to live in LA to work with us for development?
No.
No?
I
sure?
am very sure. I've run so many development meetings via FaceTime, over the phone. It's fine. We'll just have you mail in your reference samples and then we communicate through phone, like video chats. We send you a lot of things in the mail. So all of your swatches will be sent to you for approval. Same with like your samples for fittings. We'll give you we'll send them to you once we have it. We'll have you give us the call outs we need to make for you. We work with a lot of people and brands we've never met before. So if you're in LA, that's great. But
you're always more than welcome to come by the office if you book a meeting with us. We do get walk-ins occasionally, and that can be really difficult to accommodate because people book up our time a lot, and we want to give you the proper attention that you deserve. But if you live in some far-off land, like where I'm from, it's okay for you to not be here. We'll send you the stuff that you need.
Yeah, not a problem. Perfect. How long does it take to get a sample?
That's a very open-ended question. We talk about variables a lot. It's one of my favorite words to use. So the timeline for you to get a sample is extremely dependent not only on you, but if we're in the first round of sampling and development, we need to understand exactly what all the ingredients are to make your product. Like what fabric do you want to use? What trims do you want to use? And then where is that coming from? So we'll source you swatches, and we have to wait for those vendors to get back to us, and then we have to wait for you to make a decision, and then we have to place an order and once again wait on those vendors to get us a sample fabric for us to make you a sample. The first round will generally take somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks, depending on the complexity, how many how many pieces of the puzzle we need to put together, if you're printing or dyeing or sublimating or doing some weird stuff. And then once we have that in our hands, we can move a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'll answer this one. What fabrics do you have in stock? We don't actually really stock fabric. We do sourcing per job just because we work with so many different brands and every brand has different material that they're using. So instead of us just having stock fabric that you pick from, we really want to make sure we're finding something that's what you actually want.
Also, we're not a fabric mill or an importer, we're a manufacturer. So we really want to get it from the mills and the importers who have decades upon decades of knowledge on how to make that fabric, that we do not care to get involved in the millions of dollars in setup that would require.
Yeah, definitely. Plus it allows us to really tailor everything towards you. We work with brands who want everything to be done here in the US, so we'd be able to find material that way. We have brands who want things more cost effective, so we can find them cheaper material.
And also we work with brands that need custom work, and so sometimes that requires us going to the mills that we've built relationships with and custom milling that fabric with different yarns and different qualities of yarns, and sometimes silver and sometimes just weird stuff that you've never heard of before. And we are able to do that because we do everything custom.
Definitely. That was all the questions that we were asked today. So if you have any quick follow-up questions, send them through. This video will be posted on our YouTube channel probably tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get it up in the next 24 hours. This video will be on our YouTube channel.
There's also lots of good information on there. If you have questions, Zach, our CEO, makes a ton of videos walking you through the process of getting ready for development, getting you thinking. He's a great food for thought type of guy.
And also, if you just have food that you want to send our way, we're all vacuum cleaners that never leave our desks. Yeah, and that's all we've got. If you have any last questions, you got about 30 seconds before we hit done. We really appreciate you guys jumping on board and seeing what's going on and letting us run our mouths for 25 minutes.
Yes. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.